Working in research often means a plethora of meetings, lectures, teaching duties, students to supervise, papers to write and edit, and peer review. It's really difficult to be on top of things every day. So here are 7 habits of productive researchers that you might want to take up for yourself. Number 1, good time management skills and productivity methods. Often, academic researchers will simply go with the flow when it comes to their work. You go into the office, you work on the first thing that seems to be on fire, and you move on to the second one until the day is done. But most productive researchers stick to a time management schedule. For example, when writing papers and struggling to get those words on the paper, they use pomodoros, which are timed segments of 25 minutes where you ignore all distractions and just focus at the task in hand. No editing, no overthinking, simply write for 25 minutes and then see what you come up with. Often these researchers will also use different apps or software to help them manage their time online. At the office, for example, they will ban their access to social media websites, or perhaps limit it to, let's say, 5 minutes a day. Number 2 is always do the most mentally tasking tasks when you're at your most productive. For most people, this is the early morning, especially if you're an early bird in a research environment where the offices of your colleagues tend to be empty in the morning. Come early, have a nice quiet time, and focus on the things that you need to focus on the most. Then the rest of the day, after you've already been productive early in the morning, is going to go much smoothly. However, if you're not the early morning person, maybe the right time for you is right after lunch. Number 3 is dealing with interruptions. A lot of people in a research environment often struggle with uninvited knocks on their door, or phone calls, or students seeking advice, colleagues wanting a discussion, or maybe social calls for some coffee. It's really difficult to not have your office be constantly buzzing with guests, be it them wanted or unwanted. But when you need to focus on something, maybe you can use a simple non-invasive methods that many researchers do use. Close your door, put a little paper sign on it. I've seen a lot of researchers do this and it's really effective. I have time to talk, yes or no, and a little arrow to it. Really simple but solves your problem. Close the door, stick the no on the door when you don't have the time to talk to anyone, and work in peace. Once you're done, back to the yes, I have time to talk, and enjoy the rest of your social and working day. Number 4, productive researchers don't check their email every 5 minutes. I know you're expected to always be in touch with colleagues from around the world, different time zones, and at different stages of your project. But when you really need to focus on something, such as preparing your lecture plan, or perhaps editing that paper after the first round of peer review, the best thing to do is shut off your email client, maybe block the notifications for incoming emails on your phone, take an hour, shut off social media, and focus. Number 5 is have working hours. Again, academia is really inundated with long working hours. You work weekends, you work evenings. When there's a deadline, you work. You don't question your hours. But studies have shown that if you work for more than approximately 40 hours a week on a mentally tasking job, your productivity tends to fall. The accuracy of your calculations drops. It might not be the best idea, so take time to rest. Sleep 8 hours a night. Have restful weekends and a social life outside of your work. It helps you to get a load off, and once you're back to work, you can focus. 6, use a calendar and use it thoroughly. There's so many lectures, seminars, workshops, and talks that happen at every research institution on a daily basis, and it's so hard to keep track of where you have to go, when, who to talk to, who's visiting, and when you're traveling. So pick a calendar app, be it Google, Outlook, or any other, and keep your schedule in your calendar. Set reminders to go off right before you have to leave your office so that you can focus on more important work than keeping track of where you need to be and when. Let technology help you. And the final one is set priorities. Set priorities, but also be willing to change them. Most productive researchers always know what the most important task of the day is. However, we're in research. Things can change. Somebody can walk in and say, "Hey, I'd like to discuss this. I have the perfect idea for this problem you've been thinking about for ages." You might be willing to talk to them, but reschedule. Make sure that things you're postponing won't be forgotten somewhere at the bottom of a drawer. Always have your to-do lists and your tasks set out with a priority rating. That way you won't forget what the most important things are, and it will never happen that you have to write an abstract for a talk submission on the night before the deadline. Best of luck!